Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular board meeting for Wednesday, December 17th. I was jumping ahead there a little bit. We're not into the 20s yet. So December 17th, 2025. We will start this evening with our land acknowledgement of traditional territory, and that will be read by Superintendent Fennell.
Simcoe County District School Board acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabeg people. The Anishinaabeg include the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Bodwe-Otomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people.
Thank you very much. So now I'll ask you to please rise if you're able for the national anthem, which is provided to us tonight by Bradford District High School. So next we will have the Statement of Respect, again read by Superintendent Fennell.
The SCDSB is committed to creating a culture of belonging, engagement, and success for all through deliberate actions and an intentional focus in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The SCDSB Board of Trustees will conduct meetings in an inclusive, respectful manner that upholds the principles of respect for human rights and allows all members, staff, and guests to participate fully regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, age, ability, and gender.
Thank you very much. All right, so now the roll call will be completed by Recording Secretary Gill. We do have electronic participation this evening from Trustee Harrigan. Trustee Wilson has let us know that she is on her way, but just maybe a little bit late this evening. Trustee Bites is absent this evening. She advised me in advance that due to medical reasons, she is unable to attend tonight's regular meeting of the board. At this time, the board is required to move a motion to authorize or not authorize the absence. Is there a trustee who would like to move a motion to authorize the absence of Trustee Bites for December 17th, 2025 regular board meeting? Trustee Talbot, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Trustee Foley, all those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay. So I do have another motion. Trustee Powell is also absent this evening. He advised me in advance that due to personal circumstance, he is unable to attend tonight's regular meeting of the board. At this time, the board is required to move a motion to authorize or not authorize the absence. Is there a trustee who would like to move to a motion to authorize the absence of Trustee Powell for the December 17, 2025 regular board meeting? Trustee Lloyd, seconded by Trustee Talbot. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So next up, we do have the approval of the agenda. Do I have a mover for the approval of the agenda this evening? Trustee Lloyd, seconded by Trustee Talbot. Any questions or comments on the agenda this evening? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Do we have any declaration of conflict of interest this evening? Not seeing any. Thank you. So next I would be looking for an approval of the consent agenda. The following minutes have been placed on the consent agenda, the minutes of the regular board meeting. Sorry, yes, so do we have a mover for the consent agenda? Is there any, would anyone like the minutes pulled from the agenda? Any discussion there? Okay, so then I would be looking for a mover to move the consent agenda. Trustee Lloyd, seconded by Trustee Grummett. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay, so that takes us to 8, our report from student trustees. We don't have a report from student trustees this month as their student senate does not meet in December. So we'll look forward to hearing from you when we're back in January. Okay, so next up, we do have a trustee tribute this evening. So we are welcoming David Morrison, retired Simcoe County District School Board teacher. I would invite Trustee Foley to the podium to speak to Mr. Morrison tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to be here to present an award, trustee tribute award to Dave Morrison. A little bit about Dave and some of the stuff that he's done that makes him so significant. Dave began his teaching career in the GTA in 1980. In 1981, he made the move to Barrie and started what would become an extraordinary teaching journey at Innisdale Secondary School. From the moment he arrived, Dave was all in. A passionate educator and an exceptional coach. Dave dedicated 31 years of coaching football at all levels. Under Dave's leadership, these teams reached 15 championship finals and captured an impressive 9 championships, an outstanding achievement and a testament to his commitment to students, teamwork, and excellence. While teaching and coaching, Dave also created one of the most impactful initiatives our board has ever seen, the Global Perspectives Program. This was a fully integrated 5-credit academic program open to all Simcoe County students, offering culturally immersive learning experiences around the world. The program became a defining example of experiential education and helped place our board on the international stage. At the time, Dave was not only a teacher, but also an alderman for the city of Barrie, on Barrie City Council, and chair of the International Relations Committee. This unique combination of roles provided immediate access to the international exchange partners and helped establish meaningful global connections that enrich the program and the opportunities available to our students. Dave believed deeply that opportunity should never be determined by family income. His philosophy was clear and unwavering. The best kids, not the richest kids, should benefit. Dave's hard work in the community to create the Legacy Fund should ensure that this original commitment is honored and guaranteed for generations of students to come. As a personal point of interest, 1 week before I took my seat here on this board, Dave invited me out to an event at Innisdale, and I watched him work the room relentlessly, moving from table to table, securing support and checks for the Global Perspective Program with remarkable energy, purpose, and conviction. A human machine he was. Dave retired in 2013, but continued to support the Global Perspective Program for several years thereafter. Thanks to his drive, his vision, and deep belief in students, the program continues to this day. As Dave stepped aside, the baton was passed to Jeff Toole, who continues to carry forward this remarkable legacy and create life-changing experiences for students. Dave Morrison's impact on students, staff, and this board is lasting and profound. His legacy lives on in every student whose worldview was expanded because one educator believed in possibility, equity, and global understanding. Dave Morrison, folks. Dave, I would like to present you with this as a token of our recognition of the hard work you've done and the legacy you've left. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I have a moment?
By all means, have a few words.
He knows me. His emphasis was on few words. That will be the challenge. I really look forward to meeting this Dave Morrison guy. He sounds quite incredible. There's a couple things, merely 3, that I wish to mention directly. First, obviously, thank you. you know what? It's been 13 years since I retired, but this means a great deal. It's kind of like a Lifetime Achievement Award, all right? And it means a great deal, and I'm greatly appreciative of all of those that were involved in it, in particular my local trustee, now that I've moved to Wasaga Beach, Mike Foley. The second thing I want to mention is that for all that there's a lot of I and me and Dave in this speech that Mike just gave, those that know me best will tell you that for all that, yes, I have an ego. I can be as strong-willed as anyone else. But the truth is I've always been a we guy, a team guy. And I want to emphasize that Global was not invented by Dave Morrison. Global was invented by a collection of teachers on the original Global team, Candace Steele, Rob Rutan, Alan Craig. And they were, along with superb leadership, all right, the original principal, Mr. Jim Edwards, and then Tom Moore, and then Terry Arnio, et cetera, for distinct, unique, unusual, and out-of-the-box programs to succeed, there needs to be support at all levels. And fortunately, in part because eventually it became obvious, but in the early days, there were some fights about making sure that this happened, because anything that moves out of the box is unusual and always requires some reaction to resistance. He talked about coaching. Innisdale was a unique school. I don't know if anyone follows sports. We're the only school that I ever heard of that never had a head coach. And the reason we didn't have a head coach is because we had 4 talented people that basically we worked out a way to make decisions during games, emphasizing the sense of we. And the final thing that I want to point out in terms of the we category, and 2 of them are sitting right here, all right, and others have busy schedules this close to Christmas. But Jeff Toole, who is the current coordinator, and his strong right hand, Jamie Babcock, I've been gone 13 years. Do you know how rare it is for a program to survive the departure of its creator? It's absolutely stunningly rare. My brother, who was a music teacher in Etobicoke, started the Steel Band Project and at North Albion, and they went from 1 music class that he was head of to a 3-teacher load program when he introduced steel drums, and got a pile of people involved in it, including the late and great Oscar Peterson, to assist. When he then moved to the board office, within 1 year, the guy that replaced him brought back the strings out of storage, sold off the steel drums, and was down to less than half a teacher's load, all within 1 year. My point is simply this. Programs need the passion to continue beyond the individual, which is why the team is the only way to work it. Jeff and his current team have done a brilliant job. It is a different program than when I was there, as it should be. It's being led by different people that put different emphasis on. So the we is important. And the third thing I say, and I do promise this is the last one, and I don't want this in any way, shape, or form to be taken as a criticism. Instead, it's an encouragement. In every school, you have phenomenally dedicated, dynamic, capable, creative, innovative teachers who simply need the shackles taken off, their ideas encouraged, and the opportunity to create new, meaningful, dynamic programming. They need to be encouraged at every step along the way. Global is fantastic, and as you may or may not know, students can transfer in Innisdale for 1 semester to take it from all over. But, as I said 13 years ago when I retired, there should be globals in the South. There should be globals in the West. There should be globals in the North. It's not your job to create those programs, and I'm now talking to both trustees and superintendents, but it's your job to find ways through professional development or whatever to encourage the teachers that might be willing to do it. And I'm not even talking about global as an internationalist program. STEM, tech stuff. There are huge opportunities. Find the teacher with the energy, the passion, the drive, the desire, and the ability to put it together, and then just get out of their way. To put my money where my mouth is, because It's easy for me to sit here this far removed from what I used to do. I made an offer 13 years ago, I'll make it again. And I'll be the cheapest consultant ever because I don't want anything. I'll be happy to go and talk to teachers at these schools in these different areas about the opportunities and the importance of the type of education that they could be providing given the assistance and support for their creativity and their commitment. If I can be of assistance in that in any way, I would be happy to do it. In the meantime, take great pride, not in me, although thank you for this, take pride in the best program you have and the people that have kept it going all these many years. So on behalf of the entire global team and my football coaches, our football coaches, let me thank you to one and all once again, and I leave you to your deliberations for the rest of the evening. This is deeply appreciated, as is the opportunity to spread the credit and to encourage for those in the future that may have the same opportunity. Thank you very much for that. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrison. We will take a moment. We'll just take a brief pause and take some pictures outside. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you everyone for your patience. So moving along in our agenda, that takes us to 10 presentations and delegations, which we have done this evening. So then we move on to B, recommendations for action. We have no matters arising from a previous meeting. We have no unfinished business. So we do have motion for which notice was given at a previous regular board meeting. So the first one is notice of motion from the November 26, 2025 board meeting, replacing a trustee on the Joint Health and Safety Committee. So this motion regarding placing a trustee on the Joint Health and Safety Committee was brought forth by Trustee Foley. So at this time, I would be looking for a mover to put it back on the floor. Trustee Foley, thank you. I'll be looking for a seconder for that motion. Trustee Wilson, thank you. Okay, so I'll read the motion and then we can discuss. My apologies, I don't have it right in front of me. Okay. Okay, so the motion reads that a trustee be placed on the Joint Health and Safety Committee as an observer to be able to report back to the board. So we do have a mover and a seconder. I will ask Trustee Foley to speak to the motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just give me a second here. Motion is about transparency and ensuring trustees have the appropriate visibility into health and safety issues so we can properly fulfill our governance role. In the past, at another board, I sat on as an observer, and I was able to get a feeling for what was going on around the board. As an observer, it gave me the insight into how things worked and how things that weren't working could be fixed. And I think it's important in our governance role that we have a part in this, to bring information back to the table about the functionality and the safety and the congruity of our board's work. Excuse me. We would not be the only board. There are a number of boards in the province that are doing this. In fact, in Blue Water, one of the trustees was the co-chair of the Health and Safety Board. In other communities, the job is split into a couple of different boards where the trustees participate in health and safety. So this wouldn't be a first step. This is going on and taking place across the province in different boards. And I think it's important that we know what's going on, because without data, there can't be governance. And in order for us to govern properly, we need to have that data. So that's what I have to say for right now. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Trustee Foley. Would anyone else, any other questions or comments regarding the motion? Trustee Grummett, please go ahead.
Thank you, and through the chair to Trustee Foley. So when you ask a trustee to be an observer, so are you they're just observing, so there's no reporting of information that they're hearing being brought back to this table. Is that what I'm hearing? If you could just clarify, what would the follow-up be then if we're observing? What then happens afterwards?
Well,
Trustee Pulley?
thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. It would be brought back to the board should there be something of concern, or if things were working well, just to give an idea of how things were moving forward or not moving forward. If there was a sticking point or something like that, it would be shared information only on a required basis, and it wouldn't be at that point, because it is a HR issue, it would be enclosed.
Thank you. Sorry, Trustee Wilson, did I see you put your hand up there? Okay, my apologies. I thought you had your hand up when Trustee Grummett did. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Armstrong, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, question to our Director of Education in regards to this committee. It's not just a Ministry of Education, it's a Ministry of Labor mandated committee, and corporate bodies, employers, I guess, of certain sizes. I don't know what legislative regulatory mandate it comes under, but I would suspect that there's a terms of reference for this committee. This is not a committee that the board, it's not a board committee. In other words, it's not something that we have set up and we decide how this committee is structured. It is as an employer, it is a committee that we must have under the Ministry of Labor, I suspect, that corporate entities have with the decisions of, or the deciding factors of who can sit on this committee. If you have union representation, non-union representation, and the corporate administrative representation. I've sat on a health and safety committee in a hospital setting. I can't imagine that committee would take kindly to, or any health and safety committee, saying someone's coming in as an observer. I think the committee themselves have to have that decision-making process issue to say, this is what, as the administration saying, this is what, we're getting this request and we would like to bring another party in as an observer. I don't really care what other authoritative boards or other authorities are doing, what other boards are doing. This board, in my tenure, has never had trustee representation on this committee, which is, not quite 30 years, but a long time. So this is something that I don't want our labor groups to feel it is a negative conceptualization. I think that committee probably needs to hear this and an invitation, because again, I don't believe that as a corporate body, as a governance body, we control, this board of trustees controls that committee. It is because we are an employer and therefore following labor laws. So that's my confusion about that. And those other committees, those other board of school boards, maybe that was set up many years ago and has been accepted at their committees. So that's what I just want clarification on before we make a motion to say, yeah, we're going to join, because I don't believe they have observers, or maybe they do. Maybe you do have observers at this joint health and safety committee. Not ever attending one, so I just want the director's input about this.
Thank you, Trustee Armstrong. Director Stevens?
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafiq, to Trustee Armstrong. So the Joint Health and Safety Committee does have a terms of reference. It is a terms of reference that has been signed off by the Ministry of Labor, and it is until 2027, that terms of reference. So you are correct, we couldn't deviate from that at this point. We have a multi-site Joint Health and Safety Committee, and the unions and the employer and all parties have agreed to the terms of reference. So they do come up in 2027.
Follow up, Trustee Armstrong?
I'll follow up. What does that terms of reference, and I'm sorry to have to ask you, or maybe our business superintendent would be the expert, but do they have observers at these committees? And I don't, because I would think that these are under a human resource mandate, identifiable issues of employees, maybe even employee names come up about the the terms of reference from the Ministry of Labor. So I find it hard to believe that these are public meetings that anyone can attend. I just want that clarification.
Okay, I believe Superintendent Van Nispen is going to answer.
Thank you, through the chair, to Trustee Armstrong. So the director is correct in presenting that we do operate a multi-site agreement that was established 3 years ago through working with various staff represented groups, unions, and management, the employer. And this multi-site is a deviation from your standard or regular occupational health and safety setup, in that you would have site-specific. And so because we had to get this agreement through the Ministry of Labor, get their approval, get their authorizations, part of it is the makeup of who attends the or sits on the Joint Health and Safety Committee meeting. So we do have that laid out with representation from each one of the staff groups. And then in addition to that, we do have departmental representation or subject matter experts. So for example, our health and safety officers will attend the meetings as well as a resource to support discussions. We do have some confidential information that may be spoken there. That information is not disclosed in the minutes of the meeting, but as per the occupational health and safety legislation, we do post the minutes from that meeting on our health and safety boards so that all employees can see what topics are discussed.
Thank you very much. Follow up, Trustee Armstrong, and then I did see your hand, Trustee Foley. I'll come to you next.
So to clarify, there's not just one health and safety meeting that occurs for the entity of all the employees of the, I don't know, over 6,000 employees. There's not one site meeting. You're meeting maybe monthly at different places, I assume. I don't know. But what I'm trying to get at is, it sounds like there's different groups on this committee, and our observers. Now, the issue of transparency, I don't even want to get to that, because this is not something this is an employer-employee relationship that all businesses, we're being treated like a business under the Ministry of Labor, have to have. When you have a certain number of employees, you have to set up this committee under labor law. So I don't know if it makes corporate sense to just show up at a meeting without this committee or these groups inviting you to be there. I just don't think. I'm just trying to clarify who has the ability to say we're going to show up, because the terms of reference, as you noted, and we had to get special permission from the Ministry of Labor to have a site-specific setup. It just seems a little bit bizarre that a trustee would go to 6 different site meetings and just be there without an invitation.
Just a point of clarification. I believe I saw some wanting to clarify what you were asking there, Trustee Armstrong.
Because what I'm trying to say is, this is not a board committee that we've set up. This is a Ministry of Labor, as an employer of a certain size you must have in the province of Ontario. So the confusion I'm having is trustees thinking we can control this and say we're going to have somebody show up as an observer, or we're not. This is what this motion would do. And I'm saying that
Point of order.
I think we need clarification on that legislative issues of
Sorry.
someone coming.
Trustee Foley.
I believe the trustee has gone way off track.
Microphone.
I believe the trustee has gone off track, and I'd like to redirect back on to what the focus was, please.
Thank you, Trustee Foley. I do believe...
Order. I'm challenging the chair on this, if you're going to make a ruling, because it's one sentence motion about an observer go to these committees. That is that's what we're debating, not the intent, not the thought process, not the transparency. We're going to show up. Someone is going to be appointed to be an observer. That's what the motion says. That's what I'm debating.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Armstrong, and thank you, Trustee Foley. I believe that Superintendent Van Nispen did want to clarify something that Trustee Armstrong said, so I'm going to come to Superintendent Van Nispen at this point.
Thank you, through the chair, to Trustee Armstrong. So again, clarification with regards to the makeup of the Joint Health and Safety Committee. It is through the Ministry of Labor, again, authorizing us to have this multi-site agreement. The multi-site agreement does, in the terms of reference, as agreed to by the various labor groups, union groups, and the employer, lay out the representation. Each of the staff groups has a representative that's appointed by that labor group onto the Joint Health and Safety Committee. That is the representative for that group of employees, although we all represent all of the employees. It's the internal responsibility system where we are all responsible for health and safety at the school board.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Van Nispen. So before that, I did see your hand up again, Trustee Foley, so I'll come to you, and then I do have Trustee Lloyd as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clear up the confusion, all the unions have invited us unofficially. I think we need to set up an ad hoc committee if we want to move further. I think that's an important thought. I know that we had talked about that before, and Trustee Lloyd had said that ad hoc committees weren't permitted, but yes, they are under the heading of special committee, but that's something else for later. But I think it's important we know what's going on in our board. When I first came here, I had asked when superintendents would report to us with respect to what's going on at health and safety, and they said, well, never. And I'm like, well, how can we be a functioning board approving budgets and making decisions on the basis of what staff tell us without all the information in front of us? I mean, we need to be both feet in, and I think it's important. So, you know, we can't govern without having all the data, and we can't have all the data unless somebody's reporting to us or we're observing what's going on, because that's an area we have no idea, and that ties into some other motions as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Foley. Trustee Lloyd?
Thank you. And just to clarify a point Trustee Foley said, I didn't say ad hoc committees weren't permitted. I said they're done by board motion with majority and agreement. With respect to this, I have done a fair bit of research on it. I've been on the government website. I've been on the Ministry of Labor website. They refer to these as operational committees between management and employees. That's how the government refers to these committees, as operational committees between management and employee groups. We are not management. Right? We have no standing with relation to this. The ball for this rests with the director, which is Director Stevens. So I did a fair bit of research to see if hospitals, they have members of their board sitting on these committees, and they do not. And I looked at a few other organizations, and they do not have members of their boards sitting on these committees. And I'm really confused as to why this is required. If the unions are extending invites to Trustee Foley, those invites really need to go through the chair of the board. But unions have their own committees with trustees. We have a trustee relations committee. And if unions have concerns or there's issues, they have their own dedicated committee to meet with trustees and to bring these concerns forward. So from a governance perspective, I think this is a significant overreach. The unions already have an avenue to bring concerns forward directly to trustees. I think another board may have done this. It could be a historical practice. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it should be happening. And if you read the Ministry of Labor and the Ontario government websites on health and safety committees, It certainly does not indicate this is a committee where you have observers or you would have governance board members attending. This is an operational committee between management, which we are not, and employees. So I'm quite comfortable not supporting this because the union groups already have a committee that they can meet with trustees directly on. So if they have any concerns with respect to health and safety and these issues, they can bring them forward directly to trustees. So to me, by doing this, first of all, it doesn't fit within the government's role. It doesn't fit within the mandate from the Ministry of Labor. And it would be a duplication of something that's already in place. So, I believe the health and safety of employees is incredibly important. I think that we as a board have put a lot of emphasis on this over the years. I can tell you as a member who sat on this board a long time that there were a couple of issues, might have been 1 term ago or 2 terms ago, I can't remember now. And there were concerns from the Ministry of Labor brought forward, and the director apprised trustees of those issues and of those concerns, and they were worked through and resolved. So to appoint an observer to sit on these, I think, is a far reach from governance and what we should be doing. The responsibility for the Health and Safety Committee falls to the director and the staff of the board, who are management, as per the Ministry of Labor. So I would really strongly encourage trustees to think about this, what our role is and what the mandate of a joint health and safety committee is before supporting this motion.
Thank you, Trustee Lloyd. Any other further comments or questions? Okay, well then at this time I will read the motion once again, and then I'll call the question. So the motion is that the board approve the following motion: that a trustee be placed on the Joint Health and Safety Committee as an observer to be able to report back to the board. So I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And the motion fails. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so moving on in our agenda, next up we had a notice of motion from the November 26, 2025 board meeting, incidents of violence. So this motion was from Trustee Talbot. So I will read the motion and then we will go from there. So the motion is the board approve the following motion: that the Simcoe County Board of Education accumulate and distribute the incidents of violence throughout the entire board. The criterion that would be used will cite assaults: 1, using guns; 2, knives; 3, bodily harm; 4, staff assaults. The report should be monthly, either in open or closed sessions. So I would need a mover and a seconder to put that motion on the table. Do I have a mover for that? Trustee Talbot, do I have a seconder for the motion? Trustee Foley, thank you very much. Okay, so we'll open the floor to discussion at this time. Trustee Talbot, it was your motion, so I'll ask you to speak to it.
Thank you, Chair Rafiq. It's transparency at its best, it seems to me. I had a call today regarding the situation, and which I'm very appreciative. It's violence in school. I won't elaborate on it, but in an open session. But I'm very supportive of the staff, of course, extremely supportive. There's no doubt in my mind that everything will be handled well. But my point is this transparency. This is the first time I've ever heard of anything. As far as my reports and everything, there's been no, well, 97, I guess there's been 97 assaults of some kind. I've just learned today that in my area there's one person accusing several assaults and problematic. But addressing this issue, it's transparency, exposure, and we're defending people's safety. Is this not a paramount responsibility of every trustee here to make sure that people are adequately looked after, safe, and feel comfortable in their work environment or school for children? It's not even a question to me. I don't understand why anybody would suppress this. Are we trying to suppress this as a board? It comes to my mind. I hate to think of this and approach this, but it seems almost that we're deliberately trying to suppress this information, as I have no information except for a number 2 months ago, 97 from the provincial tabulation incidents of violence in our area, I believe. I want to know virtually what they are, and I do not want to micromanage. I do not want to bother, harass superintendents or anybody else. It's not that point. I just want to have knowledge. Knowledge isn't a bad thing. We're talking to teachers here. Knowledge is a good thing. Awareness is a good thing. I do not know why in the world anybody would be opposed to learning more about the safety in our schools for the staff and students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Talbot. Trustee Foley?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. I had listened to Trustee Talbot last time, and I did a little bit of research, and I just want to share this. So I want to support the intent of this motion, but I need to put an important clarification on the record. In 2023, the board directed staff to bring us written reports on violence in our schools with specific categories and timelines. And since then, we've received reports that touch on violence, but they did not include several categories the board explicitly directed, and they did not satisfy the motion as passed. This is where it ties in with Trustee Talbot. And what also concerns me is that the numbers we've seen at different times have varied from different sources dramatically without a clear reconciliation of what's being counted or excluded before we decide on new reporting structures or frequency. The board needs to complete consistent violence reports that has already approved. And it's my feeling that based on the motion I put and we voted on a couple of years ago, that the board is out of compliance with it, because looking at being 120, it talks about violence. Well, there's a lot of things that aren't violent that are assaults. Other day, a parent from Aurelia told me she watched the principal be assaulted 3 times in about 5 minutes by different students. I've gotten phone calls from parents, from students, from teachers since our last meeting where we talked about violence, explaining all the violence. When I'm over at Hope Chapel, I've watched at least 3 specific incidents. One, when I walked out of the school a couple of weeks ago, as the kid was carried out on a stretcher into an ambulance. So I know there's a lot more going on that's not being reported. Some staff have told me specifically that they're being dissuaded from filing reports. Or maybe you could have handled this differently. You should have, maybe you could have done something different when they're trying to report. Some staff won't report because they're worried about being moved to a place that would be less habitable by them or comfortable. So, I mean, there's a lot of fear on this board from staff. I hear a lot from students. Last year, student council president and others at student council at CCI told me about the assaults going on in bathrooms, the bullying, the ongoing violence, and, you know, it's happening in every school. So yes, I support what Trustee Talbot's saying, but at the same time, I'm saying based on what AB 120 states, that the board isn't in compliance because it specifically talks about all these things in violence. In my motion, it had spoken about and without violence, without injury, sorry. So I think we need to take a step back and look at that as well. And if you'd like, we can take a 5-minute recess to evaluate that, because that ties in directly with Trustee Talbot, what he's saying.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Foley. I'll see if anyone else has anything to say, and we'll see if we need a recess there. We'll see if anyone else has anything they'd like to contribute to the discussion. Trustee Grummet?
Thank you. Through the chair, I guess to Trustee Talbot, my apologies. I'm just looking for a little bit more information. So you're hoping that there could be a report that would have greater details of each violent incident. And are you looking for a breakdown, like to the school, to like how far do you want that report to go? That's my one question. And when if we did have that information, what would we do with it? So what would you be hoping would be next steps that now we know there's an incident at CCI, there's an incident at Eastview, like then what would your hope be for the next step?
Trustee Talbot?
Through to the chair, to Liz, essentially, we'll be able to react. We don't need to micromanage, by all means. That's what everybody's so concerned about, trustees usurping their authority and going on an area where they don't belong. We don't belong micromanaging anywhere with these fine superintendents and staff. I understand that. This, again, is knowledge. I feel that I need to know what the hell is going on in my area, in my schools, and I think all over. If we only have 93 significant assaults, that's not an overwhelming number nor workload to give us reports. Based on the 4 criteria I have, they could be expanded, could be lessened, whatever the board decides. But I think the criteria is significant, and having knowledge of what has gone on, as I said, I'm sure it's not being intentionally suppressed, but I have no idea of knowledge, except last year I seen the VR that there was some student attacks outside one of the Barrie schools, and I don't hear anything here except for the number 97 in a report 2 months ago. So I really feel it's inadequate. I feel that I'm misinformed. I really don't know what's going on in Simcoe County, and I'd like to know every month on the school. Bradford had 5 incidents of the major whoever, Midland, Bradford, Aurelia. It doesn't matter the area, but I think we could do that without much effort on 10 sessions a year, and it won't be overloading. We won't be micromanaging. We'll have knowledge. We'll have an idea what's going on. We're trustees. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Have knowledge? Make a decision? I rest it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Talbot. Follow up, Trustee Grummett? You're good? Okay. Trustee Wilson?
Yeah, through you, Chair, and to the table. I was just thinking of Trustee Grummett's question about what would we do. I don't know that as a trustee table we would have that answer right now, but I do think it's important that the trustees around the table do have a sense of the incidents that are occurring, what types of incidents, and the frequency, because I think that information we can look to see if there's patterns or things that are happening within our board, that we can address, for instance, like hate crimes, anything that if the more knowledge we have, then we can better come up with sort of a plan or things that we might want to implement, whether it be, education, in the classes about, whatever that might be, depending on what the information we get. So I do think it's really important to have more information so that we do understand. I am aware as well from families also that I hear from, about schools or classes having to be evacuated all the time or frequently. I guess that's the term, and not knowing why that is or what's happening. So I do think there is a need for us to have some more information with respect to the violence within our schools.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Wilson. Any other comments or questions around the table? Trustee Lloyd?
Thank you, and through you, I mean, we know right now that there is a societal challenge right now with respect to aggressiveness and behavior, and you go to the bank, there's signs about appropriate behavior. You go into your doctor's office, there's signs about appropriate behavior. There's signs, in most places nowadays. So post-pandemic, we are struggling as a society in our ability to manage our lives, manage our emotions, control our behaviors. It isn't isolated to the school system, and we all know that what's in the broader society comes into our schools. We also know that some of our students have exceptionalities, and by nature of their exceptionalities, their behavior is hard to regulate, and they are in our school system, and we can't necessarily, we do what we can to mitigate those and to address triggers and all of those, but we'll never be able to eliminate that in its entirety. I think one of the criteria that, I think we need to understand that those incidents that are severe and violate the Safe Schools Act, those students are brought before an expulsion committee. And so before we set alarm bells off here and, there's a newspaper headline tomorrow that Jessica writes that says we have unsafe schools, I would like to know how many expulsions we had at the Simcoe County District School Board, a school board with nearly 58,000 students. How many expulsions we had last year?
I believe I know the answer to that question, but I'll come to Director Stevens.
I believe the answer is 1. Trustee Lloyd.
Okay. So expulsions are, under the Safe Schools Act, is the recourse for students who commit violent crime, commit a crime that involves a weapon, all of those things. So in a board of nearly 58,000 students, we had 1 last year. Okay, so that's reassuring to me. So, I think that it's really important when we are not going to be able to fix in a school system society's problems. There is a much bigger issue at hand right now than we are ever going to be addressed within the school system. And so, I'm a firm believer that knowledge is helpful, but I think we need to be very respectful and make sure we are compliant with anything we request to ensure there's privacy, to ensure that individuals cannot be identified, and that it be done in such a manner that the Board of Trustees has that information. So if we're going to move forward with, I would certainly hope that this information come to the trustee table in closed session to protect the identity of individuals involved in this, because we all come from small communities for the most part. And when these incidents happen in small communities, we know what social media does, and we know what Facebook does, and we know all of that. So if this information is going to come, and I think we need to clarify what definition of assault we're using as well, because we all know there's also different definitions of assault. The ministry's definition, the I think Ministry of Labor's definition. So there's multiple definitions of what an assault is. An assault could be, under one definition, somebody yelling at you, right? Under another definition, it could be a physical altercation. So I think that's really important to quantify as well, or to clarify as to what definition we are using. So those are my comments on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lloyd. Trustee Foley.
I agree with some of Trustee Lloyd's points, but that's exactly why the board needs to complete the report that it already agreed to 2.5 years ago. To say that it was only 97 incidents over 12 months with almost 60,000 students is unimaginable when so many incidents are going on. One teacher told me last week that she'd been hit twice by a child while trying to put a hat on them. Young child, but still. There's another teacher who was told not to use the word evacuation anymore because it created a bad atmosphere for the children. Another parent told me they had 70 evacuations in one classroom in a year. So there is a lot of violence. There's a lot of damage, a lot of destruction going on. We've got kids that are 10, 12 years old that have PTSD because of the massive exposure. What can we do? We can take a look at what's there. We can dissect it. We can evaluate it and come up with best practice used anywhere else. We don't have to completely reinvent the wheel, but we can certainly look at what best practices are going on elsewhere and adopt them and make them work for us. Because I can tell you, You know, whereas teachers used to want to stick around for years, they're running for the doors now. A lot of teachers have had enough. As soon as they hit their factor, they're gone. Parents are pulling their kids out of our system and putting them into other systems. And this is what they're telling me. You know, the number of phone calls I got, and it's a lot. And I know a lot of it has to do with coming out of COVID. I mean, the documentation, the data is there showing the dysfunction after COVID. And we have to look at that and say, well, how can we make it better? What steps can we take? You know, what can we do to make things better? How do we move forward? Just standing still and saying, well, there's not much we can do, well, good luck, isn't going to quite cut it anymore. I feel that we need to do more because it's really reached epidemic proportions now. At least if it's not on paper, it certainly is at homes and in the classroom, the way the teachers feel and the parents feel and the students feel. I mean, that letter that was sent to us last year from CCI, those kids were scared. And there are a lot of kids that are scared, and parents that are worried about their children, and teachers that love their job but also love their safety. And we're not meeting all those needs. And I know if we try harder, we can do better. And that's all we need to do, is just take a look at even the things that, you know, don't go in the the board report to the ministry, but there are a lot of other things that do go on, and a lot of things that are just shunted off that shouldn't be. And staff need to write those reports, because some staff have also told me, I don't have the time, you know, I'm too rushed, I can't write the report. So we need to work with our unions to tell their people, you need to write your report. When something happens, get down there, find a way and do it. Speak to your VP, speak to your P, and get them to give you the time to write that report, because we need to know what's going on. So there's a breakdown in communication, there's a breakdown in will, and I think there's a lot of fear out there, and I think we can do better. So, you know, wrapping it up, I support Trustee Talbot.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Foley. I do see a couple more hands. I just want to clarify your questions about your previous motion. Do you have your previous motion in front of me? I believe that's a separate issue. We have a motion on the table, which I believe we should vote on. If that is something that you would like to bring up separate, I welcome you to do that, but I feel that we should deal with a motion on the table, and that would be a separate discussion, okay? So I did see Trustee Strong and then Trustee Lloyd as well. Trustee Strong, Vice Chair Strong, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Rafik, and thanks everybody for the conversation that's happening here. I think one thing that's true is that every person in this room cares deeply about student and staff safety. There's no doubt in my mind that everybody who's in this room today cares and does their best every day to keep our students and our staff safe in our schools. And we're talking about a lot of different things here, which stems from a report. And I think that the motion maybe is just missing the mark, because I don't believe, to Trustee Grummet's question and then the response, like, I don't think that getting this report is going to give us the tools that we need to address the issues that we're hoping to address. As trustees, we are responsible for preparing, implementing, and overseeing a strategic plan. So we have well-being as part of our strategic plan. I would say, like, I think part of the failing of this, like, this system that we're part of, is that when we were all elected as trustees, we already had a strategic plan. And this group of trustees, many of whom are new around the table, and some coming back, but would have still received feedback during the election, we didn't have an opportunity to redo that strategic plan, because I think if we did, we would have put, like, school safety as a #1 item, just based on the amount that it's come up around the table and the amount of passion that everybody has around that topic. But the good thing is that we're on that cycle to do a strategic plan again, and I think that's something that we can bring up and that we can put forward as this is a key priority of the Simcoe County District School Board, and then we can isolate ways in which we're going to achieve that. I would say that just based on the conversations around this table and the work that's been done over the past few years, we have seen some good strides towards increasing student safety. We have a decrease year over year based on our reports, whether they're accurate or not. Like, that's the information we have. So that's the information that that we have to trust. We have made changes to the climate survey that we're waiting to get that response and feedback back from, which will give us some more information around student safety and the perception of safety in our schools, which I think, like, feeling safe and being safe, they're different, but they're just as important, and people need to feel safe. So that will definitely help us. Trustee Connors and I have been sitting on the Safe School Committee, and we do have a recommendation report that will be coming back from that committee shortly with the feedback that's coming from that group of parents and advocacy groups in our community, and ways in which things that they think that we could do as a board to enhance and increase feelings and actual student safety in our schools. So I'm looking forward to that, because I do think that that committee did put a lot of effort into their considerations, and I believe the final report will come back with some good suggestions for us to consider, and things that could be easily implemented, and things that will take trustee direction to try to implement. So that'll be good to see. One of our recent PA days, I think it was the last one, was at our schools. Our school staff were all getting together talking about their climate action and their school equity and action plans, and that has a great focus on student safety. We've had reports to our program committee about the work that's being done in various schools, like what people are doing, what principals and teachers are doing within their own individual school communities to address the unique aspects of their schools to make sure that students are feeling safe and welcome in their school environment. And we've asked for more of that to be shared. And to me, that's the kind of thing that I'd like to continue to have shared, is what are the things that we're doing? Like, how are we addressing these issues that has more value to me? Even to retired Mr. Morrison's point today. Like, we have a lot of really great staff, teachers in our schools, and maybe they have ideas outside of the box, programs that they can run, ways that they can enhance their school communities to create a more welcoming space, to create that closer knit community, to foster that connection. So maybe we should take his advice and say, look, what are these great things? How can we empower people to do that? So, like, those are the conversations that I personally would prefer to be having. That's the information that I would be looking for myself, and I think that I am getting a lot of it. I think that we're getting information here at the board table through some of the motions that we've passed, some of the regulatory framework that's in place, and then some of the other statutory committees that are in place that have some good information coming to us as well. So I actually see this motion as just being a little bit redundant, and I'm not going to support it in the way that it's written here today, because I just don't feel like that's going to help me as a trustee to do my job. But I support the spirit of the motion and the passion that I'm hearing around the table for increasing safety in our schools. I think that is of utmost importance, and we can always do more and we can always do better. And I think that it takes all of us working together to do that, including all of our staff and our students as well.
Thank you, Vice Chair Strawn. Next I had Trustee Lloyd, and then I see Trustee Talbot.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. I do really appreciate the update from Vice Chair Strawn with respect to the Safe Schools Committee, because that was my question. We specifically created that committee to work on this issue and to, bring forth recommendations. So very pleased to hear that report is coming forward. And it's just sort of something in the conversation at the table today, there's been a lot of reference to teachers, but I just think it's really important to remember that it takes a lot of people other than teachers to run schools. We have a lot of educators that work in our schools, early childhood educators. We have social workers that work in our schools. We have your behavioral therapists that work in our schools. We have education assistants that work in our schools. So I think it's really important when we're having these discussions that we acknowledge the entirety of the staff that we have that engage with our students on a daily basis. Because I can tell you, if we don't have some of those individuals in our schools, they don't run. And so it's really important that we acknowledge and we're inclusive of all of our staff within our board. And I think this is, it's very, very important. And I do really appreciate the comments from Vice Chair Strawn. I do agree with her that, post-pandemic, it was very alarming. And we have made progress. We've made significant investments. We've strategized. We've addressed climate. But I think it's really important to remember also that every student has a right to go to school. We can't exclude students from school because they may have an exceptionality or they may have a struggle. And it's our duty to support and work with these students every single day. And, as we all wake up some days and have a bad day, and they may wake up and have a bad day as well. And so I think it's really important that we acknowledge that these students bring with them every day the effects of what they might be living outside of the school as well. And we know we have a housing insecurity. We know more than 30% of our population is living food insecure right now. So in a society as a whole, we have a lot of struggles, and we are not going to be able to fix them all within the school system. We can make incremental changes and improvements to enhance these things and to sort of mitigate the effects. I can assure you that the Ontario Public School Board Association is well aware of the school. And this is not just a concern at our board. This is it's a national concern. And, they have made, done advocacy work on this. I was on conference calls with the previous minister, and he was well aware of all of these challenges. It's the problem with it is there's not an easy fix or a button to push to make it all go away. So I think it is going to take a concerted effort in many fronts to address, the behaviors that we're seeing, the challenges that we're experiencing. And I really look forward to seeing the report from the Safe Schools Committee with the recommendations. And knowing that that is coming forward, I think I would prefer to see that report first and see with the direction that they are recommending we go, because we created that committee to do this work. And so I think it's really important we respect the work that's been done in that committee and the recommendations that are coming forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lloyd. Trustee Talbot?
Chair Rafik, thank you very much. And as Trustee Lloyd has requested in the earlier comments, that if this motion passed, then it would be perfectly fine and probably more acceptable to be in-camera issue and held at. But once again, I do not, as a trustee sitting here, have any knowledge of what the hell is going on and the violence is taking place. I have virtually no knowledge, except for the phone call I had today. There's nothing going on. I seen the VR last year, Barry outside. I want knowledge. I don't see this as a bad thing. And my motion is to provide at least me and hopefully the board with knowledge. I don't see why this is a threatening thing. It's not micromanaging. It's knowledge. It's knowing what the hell is going on. So anyways, I'd like to bring it to a vote, and my last request and only request is to be a recorded vote, please, because it seems if we're not supporting knowledge, then we're trying to suppress it. So I really don't understand why there'd be a lot of opposition. So I'm requesting a recorded vote, please, if we may. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Talbot. Any further questions or comments around the table at this time? Trustee Grummett, please go ahead.
Thank you, and through the chair to, I think, the table. I agree, this has been a really important conversation, and I think thinking about some of the words from Trustee Strawn about we are passionate, we care, having this knowledge is important, I do agree, but I would agree, what do we do with it? And that's, that's the piece that I think is missing as well. I look forward to hearing the report because I think that committee was an incredible, action from this table. So I guess I'm not supporting it, but I do want to know, but in maybe a different avenue, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Trustee Grummett. Trustee Foley, I saw your hand again. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. Yeah, the staff has those numbers. They have the breakdown of what's going on in what school. So it's not a matter of digging, a deep, dark trench into some cavern. The information's here. We just need it to be shared with us. What can we do with it? Well, let's first get the information, and then we can talk about what we're going to do with it. But if we keep putting it off to committees and kicking the can down the road, more people are going to get hurt, less people are going to be teaching in our schools, and I think it's going to lead to a very dismal future. So the sooner we get on with this, the better it is.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Foley. Trustee Armstrong.
Thank you. A comment, and I don't necessarily with this comment demand a response, but we have 3 students trustees who are in the schools and who are there day to day, and the issues of and this motion to me shows violent incidences, not necessarily behavioral incidences of children, which can be, it can turn to violence, obviously, depending on the age and background or the child's exceptionalities or societal or all these incidences of that do affect violence in our society. We do look at what are our expulsions and those levels in our board. But I think to say that there's an explosion of this happening, and I'm hearing from the community, it's not something that it's incidental necessarily. It's not necessarily what is the data is really saying. So I would be interested in their opinion about this type of motion, about violent incidences in schools. I myself, I think in the past, I have heard, because it is to do with security and issues in closed session, whenever there's been quite an exceptional situation of something occurring in a school, such as, I can think of one time something to do with a chemistry lab and possible, an explosive situation, literally explosions could have occurred if due to student actions or whatever. But this is many years ago. It's not something that I myself as a trustee have received a lot of feedback this year or last year in regards to schools in Innisfil. However, I do know that, incidences occur, especially at the secondary level, most likely more often than elementary. So I just would be interested what their input is about this, what their lived experience, because we're talking about our own experience and what's going on in our areas. In their own schools, are they seeing violent acts every day when they go to school, and assaults and those sort of issues? Because who better than those who are present in the schools that are going through the system at this time. But if you don't want to share that, I totally understand. But I just would like to know about this, because this is a difficult subject matter, and whether or not our administration gives us a number in closed session, and our student trustees would not be in closed session, so they wouldn't hear these things. But what do they think the impact of this sort of information is at this governance level? I'd be interested to hear.
Thank you very much, Trustee Armstrong. Yes, please go ahead.
Through you, Chair, to Trustee Armstrong. So this isn't a topic that has necessarily been discussed thoroughly in Student Senate. And it's not something that's coming up when we're talking to students. But we were talking, the three of us, through our discussion earlier today. And we've actually noticed a significant decrease since our time in grade 9 to now. I know that Student Trustee Kim had said that in his school there were more frequent just physical acts of violence, but now we're just noticing less of them. I know at my school personally, we've had, as of my knowledge, none so far physical violent acts, which I guess that's positive news. But through Student Senate, I can't say I've heard anything about violence as of right now, so I can't really give the clearest answer so far.
Thank you very much for that information. Okay, I would just like to quickly say a couple of things. So I thank my colleagues for the discussion. It's very important. There's a lot of really great points that have been made. I agree with a lot of things that have been said around the table. A lot of things that have been said are things that I was thinking and had made note of to say. I'm hearing a lot of, from Trustee Foley and from other trustees as well, a lot of anecdotal evidence, like someone's telling me and things like that, and that always concerns me. That I do think we need the proper data. I agree. We need the data from the board, which I am comfortable with the data that we have been receiving. I believe that, yes, of course, we need to, I receive calls from parents about issues all the time, and we need to be listening to them and helping them navigate the system and their issues for sure. But a lot of the time when we receive calls from people who are understandably very emotional with whatever they're dealing with, there's always more than one side to every story in every situation that we get into. And when we dig into those issues, we really start to learn things. And so I think that's really important to remember when we're thinking about what we're hearing from people all the time, is that, we are always hearing one side, and I believe that we all think that we need to hear all sides of the story to make sure that we have an accurate picture of what's happening. So I just think that's something important as well. I am very encouraged from Vice Chair Strawn about the motion or the information coming back, the report coming from the committee, which I think that would be very important to hear as well. Like I said, I am comfortable currently with the information that I am receiving. I feel that I have developed very good relationships with the staff and superintendents that I work with over the years. I feel very comfortable that I am contacted if there's an issue in my school that I need to be informed of. I don't feel that in my 4 years as being a trustee this term that I have ever once been surprised by an issue that a parent has brought to me that I haven't already heard from my superintendent about. And so that makes me feel extremely comfortable. But I go back to what Vice Chair Strawn said. I think everyone around this table, everybody in this room today wants our students to be safe, and it is a #1 priority for us. And I think that we are working hard toward that. So I just wanted to put that out there, my thoughts as well. I don't want to be repetitive and take up too much time because, like I said, a lot of the thoughts that I've had have been said here today, so I appreciate the discussion. But at this time, we will move on to the vote, and we do have a recorded vote, so just give me half a second. So I read this. Okay. So I am going to turn things over to Director Stevens at this time for the vote.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafiq, a recorded vote has been requested on the motion on the table. All those for the motion, please stand. Trustee Foley, Trustee Talbot, Trustee Wilson for the motion. All those opposed, please stand. Trustee Armstrong, Trustee Connors, Trustee Grummett, Trustee Harrigan, Trustee Lloyd, Trustee Rafiq, Trustee Strawn, Student Trustee Kim, all opposed. Student Trustee Carvello and Student Trustee Perry abstained.
Thank you. And with that, the motion fails. Okay, so moving on in our agenda, that takes us to our next notice of motion from the November 26, 2025 board meeting, Policy 2193, Corporate Board Role Description Review and Update. So I will read the motion and we'll look for a mover and a seconder, and then we'll open the floor for discussion. So the motion is that the board approve the following motion: that the board policy 2193 regarding the corporate board role and description be reviewed, updated, and brought back to the Board of Trustees. Do I have a mover for that motion? Trustee Strawn, seconded by Trustee Lloyd. So we'll open the floor at this time for discussion, and I will come to Vice Chair Strong as your motion to speak to it, please.
Great. Thank you, Chair Rafiq. The reason this motion is brought forward is just because I noticed a misalignment between our policy and recent changes in legislation. So just wanted to make sure that this was brought forward in the near future on the agenda of policy updates to make sure that our policy is in alignment with legislation.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on the motion? Trustee Armstrong, please go ahead.
In regards to the motion, it does not say, I just heard near future, but I just wanted either we should have maybe amend it for a specific date, or however, my question would be to the Director of Education, when could this be brought to us within the next, I guess, before March, because I don't think we'd want to go much further than that. Is that an encumbrance, or would she prefer a date on this motion? Because this is something that administration would put onto the agenda, and possible recommendations on it, input.
Director Stevens?
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafiq, to Trustee Armstrong. So I did have a brief conversation with Trustee Strawn at the end of the meeting. Just went and looked at that policy. So it is up for renewal in 2026. That was the renewal year, because we do renew every 5 years. So I indicated and am happy to bring that back to the table before the end of the first half of 2026. So I said by the end of June I would bring it. I will endeavor to bring it closer to May or April. It does have to go through a full review process and bring up to corporate standards, and that does take some time, but we wouldn't push it to the second half of 2026. We'd push it in the first half of 2026.
Thank you for that.
Okay, any further questions or comments on the motion? Okay, not seeing any, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. So next up in our agenda, we have a notice of time-sensitive motion from statutory committees. So we do have a notice of motion from the December 8th, 2025 Special Education Advisory Committee, a letter to the Minister of Education funding support for students with special education and mental health needs. So once again, I am the chair of SEAC, and I did bring this motion forward to SEAC, so I feel that it would be most appropriate at this time to turn the chair over to Vice Chair Strong. So I'll do that at this time.
Okay, thank you. So there is a notice of motion from the December 8th Special Education Advisory Committee regarding the letter to the ministry, which Trustee Rafiq just noted. So I will read the motion, and that is that the board approve the letter written by the Simcoe County District School Board SEAC chairperson to the Minister of Education regarding funding to support for students with special education and mental health needs as set out in Appendix A of Report Number B-2-A, Notice of Time-Sensitive Motions from the December 8th, 2025 Special Education Advisory Committee regarding funding support for students with special education and mental health needs. And Trustee Rafiq, you'd like to move that motion? Do I have a seconder? Trustee Connors? Would you like to speak to a motion, Trustee Rafiq?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, SEAC once again had a fulsome discussion about bringing this motion forward, and I would encourage everyone to support. I think we all know that special education spending is a huge pressure within our board, and there's lots of ways that SEAC has suggested over the years that could help things. You know, sometimes we just think endless money is the answer, but sometimes just getting the right information and the right money in the right hand and the right envelope, that is maybe what we need. So the letter is included in your package there. We have some suggestions that would make things easier. We did write a similar letter back in 2023. Again, just things that our parent volunteers had noted, our organizations had noted, you know, concerns that we see through staff, and things that we think could really help with special education funding. We do think it's a timely letter, as it is that time of year when, you know, the ministry is working on budget and getting those numbers ready, and so we do believe it's a good time of year for that. I'm not sure if anyone else, sorry, that's not my job to ask that at this moment. Yes, I'll end there. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Trustee Lloyd.
Thank you, and through you, I have a question for the director, and I did bring this up in the SEAC meeting. There was a recent announcement by our coterminous board that they had received $2 million in funding to assist them with OADA compliance. Was there a special fund, or was there an opportunity for boards to secure funding? But I did, I think it was a Friday night, I saw the article or the media release from our coterminous board, and I did send it to Chair Rafiq at the time. But they did announce that they got $2 million from the ministry, special funding from the ministry to support them with OADA. And so just any insights on that, or?
Thank you, and through you, Vice Chair Strawn, to Trustee Lloyd. I'm looking across at Superintendent Van Disman and Superintendent Jacobs, not seeing an affirmative as to someone offering us millions of dollars that we turned away. So I do not believe we have been offered any additional funds on this in this envelope.
So then my request is going to be, is it possible to check to see with the ministry how they received $2 million in funding to support OADA compliance? Because I think it would be, it was an announcement that caught me completely off guard when I saw it. And I would, you know, sitting at the option board table, none of the other boards are getting money to support OADA compliance. So I'm just curious. And so if an inquiry could go to the ministry, I think that would be very much appreciated.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Lloyd. And I saw Superintendent Van Dispen taking a note, so I'm sure we'll get some information back on that. Any other questions? Just a couple of comments from myself. I know that in the early new year, there is budget consultation happening with the provincial government. I believe that Chair Rafiq is able to participate in that. So I would encourage her to also bring this forward at that time. And then just a reminder that SEAC does come to see us every year and present their budget. And I do believe it's Mr. Barry who says it, that funding for special education is funding for all of our students. And so with that, I will be supportive of this motion. All those in favor? And all those opposed? Wonderful. That carries. I'll turn it back to Chair Rafiq.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Moving along in our agenda. My goodness, I lost my spot there for a second. Sorry. Okay. So that takes us to committee minutes reports, items for decision. We have nothing pulled from the consent agenda. So that takes us to 4A staff reports, items for decisions. We do have the trustee committee assignments for 2026. So we did meet. We had a vote. We had Trustee Lloyd, Vice Chair Strawn, and myself. We met. We went over everyone's surveys that they submitted. We tried very hard to give people their first and second choices where we could. We also tried to balance out, this is our fourth year as trustees, so we tried to balance out making sure that everyone had equal opportunity around the committees that they've been looking for, and that everyone had a chance to get around there. So if we have any questions or comments, but the assignments are included in your package there. Yes, and we have a recommendation too, sorry. Okay, so the recommendation is that the board ratify the recommendation of the selection committee as set out in Appendix A of report number B4A, trustee committee assignments for 2026, dated December 17th, 2025. So do I have a mover for that? Trustee Grummett, seconded by trustee Talbot. Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. Okay, all right, so next up, so we do have Special Education Advisory Committee member appointment, and I believe Superintendent Jacobs is going to speak to that this evening.
Through the chair to the table, as outlined in Ontario Regulation 46497, SEAC plays a vital consultative role in supporting the interests and well-being of exceptional students across our board. Currently, the Simcoe County District School Board includes 10 members representing local associations, with the regulation permitting up to 12. A vacancy has arisen in the SEAC membership representing CLH Development Support Services. CLH Development Support Services is a non-profit organization that provides specialized services to children, youth, and adults with developmental support needs. Their organization supports more than 2,500 individuals and their families annually. Throughout their 60-year history, CLH Developmental Support Services has created an environment of acceptance, encouragement, and lifelong learning together with their network of dedicated community partners. CLH Development Support Services has nominated Sarah Ferguson to fill this vacancy, effective December 18th, 2025. Ms. Ferguson meets all criteria for appointment and brings relevant experience and commitment to the role. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Jacobs. Any questions or comments? Okay, then I'll read the motion. So the motion is that the board appoint to the SCDSB SEAC effective December 18th, 2025, Sarah Ferguson as the SEAC member representing Simcoe Muskoka Family Connections as set out, in report number my apologies, representing CLH as set out in report number B4B, Special Education Advisory Committee member appointment, dated December 17th, 2025. Do I have a mover for that motion? Trustee Lloyd, seconded by trustee Grummett. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you very much. No worries. Okay, so next up on our agenda takes us to section 5. Committee minutes reports, items for information. So the following reports have been provided for information. So we have A, minutes of the Special Education Advisory Committee held November 10th, 2025. Any comments or questions on this report? Not seeing any. All right, so then we do have the minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee held June 10th, 2025. Any questions or comments regarding this report? Vice Chair Strawn, please go ahead.
Thank you, and I'll direct this through to Director Stevens, and she can send it off wherever. But there was a presentation to the Sustainability Advisory Committee about a Great Lakes Summit by someone from NVCA, and I was just wondering if there was any update on that, if that summit was taking place, if our students were participating. It just seemed interesting, and if nobody has an answer right now, that's fine. Like, maybe I could just get an email update or memo at the next meeting or something like that.
Director Stevens.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafik to Vice Chair Strawn, I think we'd have to get that information for you. I don't think it's at the fingertips right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, all right, so next up on our agenda brings us to staff reports, items for information. So we do have the report of trustee attendance, January 2025 to December 2025, and Director Stevens will speak to this report.
Thank you, and through the chair. At the January 29th, 2020 regular board meeting, the Board of Trustees approved a motion that the board receive annually in December in public session a summary report of trustee and student trustee attendance at regularly scheduled board meetings, special meetings, standing committee meetings, mandatory committees, and committees of the board, and that a summary report of trustee attendance by trustee be posted on the board website. Before you is the report to complete this annual reporting. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Trustee Wilson, please go ahead.
Through you, Chair, I guess to the table, really. I was just looking at that, and somehow I was put on a committee that I was not aware of that meets during the day that I am unable to ever attend given my job. And also, as we all know, I was not in the province until, I was out of the province and didn't come back till May. So anyway, I'm looking, they met for, so I have all regrets, and this is the first of me learning that I was on this committee. And I've just gone through my email to see if I could find any emails where, I'm being indicated about the meeting or anything like that. And anyway, it's interesting because in 2019, I did find an email from 2019 from the then chair, Trustee Lloyd, letting me know when I initially asked for it back then that that I'm, that they meet through the day and I'm not available for day meetings. So anyway, just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. And Trustee Wilson, I just want to clarify, you're not talking about the new assignments, you're talking about the previous year that we've just finished, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my attendance on a committee I had no idea I was even on. Or there's no physical possible way I could have been on that committee because I do work during the day and cannot participate.
Okay. Director Stevens, I see your microphone on.
Yeah, thank you. And through you, Vice Chair Rafiq, to Trustee Wilson. So I know Executive Assistant Henry asked the table if that this was presented. So she'll take that back. I'll take that back and we'll review. And if there's an error, we'll fix it prior to it being posted publicly. We'll follow up with you as well.
Trustee Lloyd.
Thank you, but my question is, though, those committee assignments came out to all trustees last year in a board package, and they were approved by the board, right? Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Correct. Yes, the same report that we've received this evening about our new committee assignments was brought to board last year. It was received by all trustees in the package and was voted on and passed by the Board of Trustees. Okay. Any other further questions or comments? Okay, thank you for the information, Director Stevens. Okay, so next up, we will.
Can I just point of when we are on committees, through the chair to the floor, we do get emails about upcoming. So just to point out, I did not get any emails. Thank you.
Absolutely. To clarify, and I believe that's what Director Stevens is going to follow up, because yes, absolutely. Every committee that we're on, we get a calendar invoice or an agenda or an email. Yeah. So.
No, I know. Just Trustee Lloyd was pointing out that it was in a package, so insinuating I should have been aware because it was voted on, and I'm just pointing out I did not get any emails.
Okay, I think both things can be true at the same time, which is the case at this time. The package did come to trustees. It was passed forward. It sounds like you didn't get any emails, and so that will be followed up on as well. I believe both things are true. Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so moving on in our agenda. So next up, we do have the Director's Annual Report to the Community for 2024-2025, and it will be provided by Director Stevens.
Thank you, and through the chair to the table. The Director of Education is required under the Education Act to provide the board with an annual report to the community.
The Director's annual report to the community celebrates the accomplishments of students and staff during the 2024-2025 school year. In this year's evening video presentation, these accomplishments are highlighted in relation to the 10 themes woven throughout the SCDSB strategic plan. Following this evening's presentation, a digital version of the report, along with the video, will be posted on the SCDSB website to meet compliance with the Education Act.
The 2025-26 school year is underway, and as we look forward to the many opportunities and achievements for the year ahead, it is also important to take a look back and celebrate the 2024-25 school year.
Supporting student achievement and learning is a collaborative effort between school staff and parents and guardians. The SCDSB is committed to creating safe, supportive, and positive learning environments that recognize the diversity of our students' identities. All members of the school community have the right to be safe and to feel safe in their school community. SCDSB trustees are locally elected members of the public who are accountable for making decisions that benefit students across the SCDSB while representing the interests of their communities. SCDSB schools continue to provide opportunities for students to engage in learning about the skilled trades and technology through innovative programs and activities. The SCDSB respects the contributions that staff make to enhance student achievement and well-being. The SCDSB supports mental health and well-being. It is important that the SCDSB maintain public confidence and trust, including in management of resources. The process of building and opening new schools requires community engagement and transparency from start to finish. There was a lot to celebrate across the SCDSB in 2024-25.
I look forward to what the future of the SCDSB will bring as we focus on student achievement, well-being, and creating environments where students and staff feel a sense of belonging.
Wonderful. Thank you. A nice end, that beautiful sunset over the Education Center. I love it. Thank you. Okay. All right, so that does take us in our agenda to other matters. So do we have any reports from liaison members at this time? No updates, okay. So then that takes us to questions and comments from trustees. Do I have any questions and comments from trustees this evening? Trustee Grummett, please go ahead.
Perfect, and through the chair to Superintendent McLean. While our winter weather has started, and that's just a statement, but I had lots of conversations. Was it last week that we had that really great day, or maybe it was the week before? It was the week before. So some of the questions I just wanted to follow up a little bit about, just to provide some more information for myself and our community. So there was lots of talk about how do we create our bus, like our weather zones. How are those established, and are they reviewed? I'll start with that question.
Superintendent McLean.
Through the chair to Trustee Grummett. Great question, and thanks for asking. So, yeah, they are reviewed, and I'll try to take you through a bit of policy as well as best practice. as we work through and work with the consortium. So the weather zones were established through structured and their data-driven process that really begins with the secondary school boundaries and their respective feeder elementary schools. So using these boundaries, they provide a stable and well-defined geographic framework that really reflects the travel patterns, road networks, and community linkages. So once these boundaries are identified, several data sources and operational factors are analyzed to determine the most appropriate configuration for weather zones. So included is a review of historical weather data, such as snowfall accumulation, frequency and severity of winter weather events, temperature fluctuations, and the timing and movement of storm systems across the county. Geographic factors are also considered, including elevation changes, proximity to Lake Simcoe, Georgian Bay, and the lake effect snow, rural versus urban road density, and known weather-sensitive corridors. In addition to meteorology data, operational transportation data is reviewed daily. This includes historical cancellation and delay patterns, road closure data, bus route performance, and feedback from snow captains and transportation operators who have firsthand knowledge of localized conditions. So particular attention is paid to areas that historically experience earlier deterioration or slower recovery of road conditions during winter events. So each weather zone is aligned to ensure internal consistency, meaning that schools and routes within a zone generally experience similar weather impacts and road conditions. This approach supports equitable and timely transportation decisions while reducing the risk of inconsistent outcomes across our adjacent communities. So, second part of your question, we conduct annual reviews every year, so weather zones using current year data, including weather trends, operational outcomes, incident reports, and feedback from partners. This review ensures the zones remain appropriate and allows for adjustments where patterns, infrastructure, or historical performance indicate a need for a change. So going back to your first question, truly the structure is built on our feeder schools and where those buses need to get to.
Trustee Grummett, follow up?
Perfect. And I understand it is not an easy decision when you're creating any of these zones or making those decisions. But I did receive quite a few calls about, why are certain roads in certain areas? Would they not be a better fit to be in a different area? So I appreciate, so that review will happen. I'll ask the other question. Maybe you can just include when that review does happen. And then is there ever a situation that part of a weather zone would be canceled? So maybe there's a road that ends up being closed, and that zone wasn't a closed zone for the day. And if that does happen, how is that communicated to the families?
Superintendent McLean.
Through the chair to Trustee Grummett. So I'll take through, I know last year we had talked a little bit about people are tired of hearing a snow captain's act, especially after the 22 last year. But on days where inclement weather is possible, our snow captains conduct an active review of road conditions across their assigned weather zones prior to the inclement weather call in the morning. So that call is roughly just after 5 o'clock. These reviews include driving, representative routes, assessing municipal plowing and sanding progress, monitoring visibility and accumulation, and confirming road passability in both rural and urban areas. The real-time field data is critical input to transportation decisions. Going to the second part, as roads may deteriorate through the day, we do rely on drivers to determine the accessibility of various road conditions. The drivers are the ones that will determine whether a stop can be utilized or not. Will they be able to service that stop? That is communicated directly to the consortium, directly to the schools. It is most imperative, and as we really, for best practice, encourage families to get on Bus Planner. So Bus Planner will indicate delays and when there are roads that we cannot traverse. I think it's obvious when roads are closed, we won't be going down them, and that does happen as a day progresses or a storm progresses, but in the end, it is the communication of the drivers to say, I simply cannot service that stop. Students are often then returned to the school, and the school will be calling families. It is best practice. We always have an administrator that will stay until that last child is dropped off and the last bus is safely where it needs to be. I hope that answered your question.
Sorry, and just through the chair again, can you just provide when those weather zones are reviewed? Like what time of the year will that be completed? Thank you.
And through the chair to Trustee Grummett. So that is in the springtime. So we start building our routes, and it is all digital, computerized, and the routes are built as we start to get the, of course, special education requests, as well as our regular transportation with our co-terminus board. And at that time, we do start to look at the review of, do we have the schools in the right zones? Are they in the right area? And you know, the difficulty is you have to have a boundary. And there has to be a cutoff line that does result in one zone in some areas overlapping with another zone to a very small degree. And of course, that is only heightened when we have cancellations in one area and not another area.
Thank you very much. Some anecdotal evidence, anecdotal information from me. So one of the days last week that we did not have a snow day, I was heading to a school in my zone, in my area, driving, thinking, what is happening? Why am I on the road? Why am I not turning around? I went up a really big hill. I came to the crest of the hill and I entered a new world. It was a blue sky. The sun was shining. It was clear. It was no longer snowing. There was literally a line in the road. And I again thought how happy I was to never be the one to make that decision. So I just wanted to share that little bit of anecdotal evidence of my own there this evening. Okay, thank you very much for that. Sorry, Trustee Foley, did I see with another question or comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. Excuse me. I just wanted to go back to what I've been talking about earlier about PPM 120, and you know, looking at the original motion that we voted on 2 years ago, which I asked to have a copy of the other day, specifically speaks to, and I'm just going to read it to you. My computer just died, so excuse me. I had it all lined up. There we go. Anyways, just give me a second here. Okay, here it is. It's BP 2023-092776, A for Apple. That the board approve that staff provide the board a report on violence in our schools no later than December 23rd, 2023, board meeting. The report should utilize data from the 22-23 school year and should include, but not be limited to, all incidents of a possession of a weapon, including a firearm or any object used as a weapon, physical assaults requiring medical attention, sexual assaults, robbery, extortion, hate, motivated occurrences, assaults not requiring medical attention, human trafficking, gang activity. Further, this report should come to the board on an annual basis each September, utilizing data from the previous school year. So, a couple of key areas in there that concern me are where we talk about include but not limited to, and there was no specificity with respect to whether we were voting on students, whether we were voting on volunteers. This is all violence. That's the way this is read. All violence in schools. Whether there's and looking at PPM 120, it talks about assaults requiring medical attention. So I'm wondering, through you, Madam Chair, and to the Director, do those 97 incidents occur of violence not requiring medical attention? Because you had earlier said that you were following PPM 120, and it doesn't require assaults not requiring medical attention.
Okay, thank you. I believe the discussion we talked about was covering both PPM 120 and your motion, but I'm just going to give Director Stevens a moment to read, and I'll come
Which
to
is why I said if we could take a 5-minute recess to look this over.
Yeah, I'll see if she needs that, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafik, to
Trustee Foley. So there are nuggeted things in the PPM 120. So possessing a weapon, including possessing a firearm, physical assault causing bodily harm, requiring medical attention, sexual assault, robbery, using a weapon, extortion, hate or bias motivated occurrences. So those are the incidences in which we must report.
Through Madam Chair, to the Director. I understand that. Are you excluding in those 97? I'm thinking that you're excluding violence not requiring medical attention, because that's not laid out in PPM 120.
Thank you, Vice Chair Rafiq. To Trustee Foley, that is correct.
Then I would like a list from you to meet the requirements of the motion that we made in 2023. We'd like that. You're not in compliance with that motion then, because that motion asked for a full detail of all violence requiring medical attention or not requiring medical attention. That is how that motion is read and was passed. So you need to be in compliance. And also, I was told by somebody when asking Superintendent Young a couple of months back that, we always move that report along. The report's supposed to be in September board meeting, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Just to clarify the one part, Trustee Foley, it does say no later than December for the 1 year. So, right, for the 1 year. Okay, so September.
But it's specific, specific that it is presented to us in September with the previous year's information on violence, and we also need to have the last 2 years given to us of violence that didn't require medical attention, because that's in that motion and it has not been provided.
Okay, so we will have to follow up on that, Trustee Foley. I can look through, if we can give us some time to go through, to read through the motion, to read through the history, and to get that together. Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I respectfully agree with you. That needs to be done. I hope we can have that by our February meeting. I'd like to see all the incidents of violence that have occurred in our board, across the board, not requiring medical attention, because that is part of the motion, and in order for the board to be compliant, we have to have all of that information. Thank you.
Okay, I can assure you we'll follow up, Trustee Foley, as quickly as possible. That's all I can promise at this time. Okay, Trustee Wilson, please go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Chair, to the table. I just, the last meeting, I had asked about what the fees, the legal fees regarding the application that was brought forth against myself, that I felt that it should be discussed in public, as obviously the public has a right to know how much of their tax dollars was spent. And last month, you had said you needed some time to figure that out. So I was just wondering if you have an answer for me now.
Thank you. Yes, I do. So I did read the information and consult with legal. So our legal discussions and legal costs do clearly fall in the Education Act under closed session. So, but the legal advice that I've received is that we need to discuss that in closed first, and then we can move on from there. So we can discuss that in closed this evening.
Just follow up. So once we discuss it in closed, then it can be talked about in public?
That's part of the discussion that we can have in closed session this evening.
Okay.
Trustee Foley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And through you, there was a disturbing incident in Collingwood a few weeks ago, where protesters, pro-Palestine protesters, were protesting around CCI, and I went to a council meeting in Collingwood where they're having their staff oversee what can be done using the existing bylaw. I've talked to a couple of the counselors there, and essentially what had happened was there was a vehicle there from Simon Wiesenthal Center. And for anybody who doesn't know Simon Wiesenthal, I highly recommend that you Google that individual up for the amazing work that man did during his lifetime. But Simon Wiesenthal Center had sent a vehicle over to work with our students at CCI, and these pro-Palestinian protesters took it upon themselves to utilize that opportunity because of the connection to Israel and Judaism to cause conflict and create fear and incite fear amongst students and the community. And that was brought up at Collingwood Council as well. I ask that we send Collingwood Council a letter supporting any motion that creates a bubble that pushes demonstrators away from our schools, specifically from Collingwood schools, because that's what they're discussing right now. And I feel that had it been the Heinz 57 truck or the Lay's potato wagon that was handing out free chips, there would have been no protesters. But it was obviously a moment of disrespect towards Jews. And I think we need to stand up and be counted, because this could happen to any other group of people that's victimized, identified and victimized. So Collingwood will be dealing with that in January. I ask that we write a letter that we support any bubble keeping protesters away from our school in Collingwood.
Thank you, Trustee Foley. So if you're aware, if you wish to, you are most welcome to bring a motion for such a letter.
Sure, I would love to bring a timely motion right now, because it's happening, and we need to, be considerate of our students. If this happens again, it could cause some significant problems. We need to have that safety barrier, and that's what they're talking about. And as I talk to the counselors there, a safety barrier is a good idea. It's being bandied about staff, and they said they would welcome any input from us.
Thank you. And while I very much respect and appreciate your bringing this issue forward, we do need to work within our bylaws. We can't bring a motion under other matters, but you are free to bring a notice of motion, absolutely, for this issue.
Madam Chair, the motion, the whole incident is being discussed now. This is a timely motion, I think. We should look at it and just send a letter on behalf of the board saying that we need to create a safety barrier between our school and any protests.
I absolutely understand your urgency, Trustee Foley, but I just need to make sure, it's my job as chair to make sure we're working within our bylaws. So my understanding is that we cannot bring a motion under other matters, but if you just want to give me a moment, then I'll have a look and see if there's something that we can do.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so thank you very much, Trustee Foley. So we cannot bring a motion under other matters. We have to work within our bylaws. That is what we have to work with. So for future, what you could have done at the beginning of the meeting is amended the agenda to bring up this topic, and then we could have had it on today. So the suggestion now is we could just ask the director to participate in these conversations that are upcoming, but then you could also move a notice of motion, so that we could start talking about things. But like I said, we could unofficially ask the director to participate in these discussions for now. How do you feel about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think any discussion that prevents any future anti-Semitism or any other type of hate or disruption like that would be well warranted by the director reaching out to the city of Collingwood, town of Collingwood. So I would appreciate that, and I'll bring forward a notice of motion for the next meeting as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, other matters. Sorry, other questions from trustees. Trustee Armstrong, please go ahead.
I do have a question in regards to, and it has to do with weather-related issues, and this would be directed to the director. In the governance of the board, we do approve school calendars. Typically, I don't think necessarily we approve when graduations happen, but traditionally they're done at the end of the year. A week ago during the terrible weather day, I think it was a Thursday, a 50th anniversary of an elementary school was planned to proceed. And I've been to a couple in my area. There's been a few in the last few years. I've participated in 15th anniversaries and 25th anniversaries. And it just occurred to me that their energy and planning and the amount of work from the community and all of the community partners, that the honored guests and families taking time off work to participate in these incredible celebrations that these landmark events that only happen once every 50 years or every 25 years. And goodness gracious, I think we're going to have 75th anniversaries soon. Maybe not for anybody. I won't be around, but some of you may. But they're coming up, and they're going to be more often in our board. So I'm just wondering if we need some direction from our senior administration that maybe these anniversaries, just as our departed Queen Elizabeth didn't celebrate her birthday on her birthday, the nation celebrated it in June when the weather was better. Maybe these 50th anniversaries and 25th anniversary landmark issues should be celebrated within the 12-month period, but in a springtime event, April or May. I know June is crazy, but all I'm saying is that it just occurs to me that this celebration event is going to be rescheduled, but of course it cannot be as impactful as the original date. And our winter weather here is so unpredictable and difficult to, even though that would have been around the date of the school's true anniversary. I just wonder if the senior administration might consider that, because I think these events there's going to be many more in the next few years. Probably in the next 5 years, there's probably going to be a rash of 50th or those sort of things. And they probably should occur in the months of April or May, and I'm sure the community members wouldn't have to worry about cancellation due to weather. And it's just so unfortunate, and I just felt terrible for the school and for the poor principal, the work and effort that they put in for these events. So that's just a comment, not to say that I'm micromanaging, I don't mean that, but I'm saying, yeah, some of these events should happen in fair weather, not winter time. So
thank you for that, Trustee Armstrong. All right. Yes, Trustee Pulley.
Sorry, Madam Chair, through you. Just thinking about what we had talked about a minute ago about getting those numbers from 23, 24, 24, 25. I think we should put a sunset clause on that so that there's a time frame in place. I think February board meeting would be adequate to do that. I mean, the information's in hand already. So I would like to see that by February board meeting, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Pulley. Like I said, I can't make any promises at this point, but I absolutely will promise you that I will work with the director we will do our very best to meet that.
I understand what you're saying. I would like to make it that meeting because the numbers are there. If we could even have 23, 24 first in February and then 24, 25 in March, that would be adequate. Okay. But let's start seeing some information flow towards us that was supposed to be here 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Trustee Connors.
I would like to thank Superintendent Webb and Principal Morris at Honorable Earl Rowe for letting me visit yet again. As she mentioned, I tend to visit that school a bit. So anyways, so I'd like to thank the students and staff for letting me visit them yet again. I love seeing the learning that's going on in the schools. and hearing about what's going on in the schools. So that's one of our jobs, is just to go out there and see what's going on ourselves. So I love going for school tours, and I have a bunch lined up in January, and hopefully the weather cooperates. I also want to say that yesterday I attended the K-Cup for the first time. It was absolutely phenomenal. I got there at 9:15, and the students rolled in on those buses all the way up until 10, and you could really feel the energy in that building, like go up and up and up. The kids were so much fun. We're not a hockey family, so it was great to watch some hockey. So I wanted to thank the students and staff, the community, and the sponsors for putting on that phenomenal event. There was one today and one that got canceled because of the weather, and it's in January. So anyways, that was great. And then I also want to thank the Mullins family in Bradford for their pledge for $250,000 over 3 years to launch School Fuel in Bradford. It's a new initiative that will support and expand school-based meal programs across Bradford, and will then continue, hopefully, throughout the board. And that is being run by the Bradford Food Bank and the Anti-Poverty Summit that Bradford hosted, and they're the ones that had started this. So I want to thank them also for their initiatives to help our schools.
Lots of wonderful news. Thank you so much, Trustee Connors. Great. Trustee Foley.
Yeah, I've got a few people to thank as well. I'd like to thank Clearview Community Church for the incredible work that they're doing with Wasaga Beach Public School. They're not only serving breakfast 2 days a week and probably soon 3 days a week to the students, but they're also providing and paying for all the food as well. So that's really outstanding. I'd like to thank Wasaga and Georgian Rotary for donating $3,500 for refrigerators to Wasaga Beach Public School. And ongoingly, I'd like to thank the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce and Tourism for the amazing work they're doing. Every meeting they have every month, they're collecting safe and student-friendly snacks, and they're distributing to all elementary schools in Wasaga Beach, boxes and boxes of stuff. So a big shout out to that organization.
Wonderful news as well. Thank you very much. Okay, Trustee Gomet.
Thank you, and through the chair to the table, I'd like to thank East Oro Public School for including me in their annual turkey dinner. This is a pretty amazing event. They serve this incredible hot meal to every student in the school, and then they have some special guests, Superintendent Young and Executive Assistant Lori Pickering also attended, as well as the mayor of Oro-Medonte, and some pretty fabulous bus drivers who have been driving the bus. There was two of them. They've been driving the bus, I think, for 20 years. So it was a really great dinner with wonderful company, and the kids are just so happy. Like it is just a really great event. So I'm very honored to be included. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Grummett. Excellent. Well, I did have a few things to share as well. I had a very busy month. It was my first month as chair. I would have been even busier if there had not been snow days. But I had the chance to attend Algonquin Ridge's 25th anniversary. It was a wonderful celebration. I will say, as they were talking about all the things from 25 years ago, about how it was so long ago, and all the things that they're remembering and talking about, I wasn't a kid when those things happened, so it made me feel a little bit old, but it was a definite wonderful celebration, and it was really, really amazing to see how proud the kids and their community were of their school. There was a lot of community members that joined us, a lot of parents, but the kids did so many different things that they were so excited to talk about their school and what it meant to them, and to hear them all share that was really wonderful. I was also lucky enough to attend a couple of holiday concerts. I went to Tostoronio Public School and Agila Central Public School, and I just have to say, if you're searching for some holiday spirit, I assure you it can be found at an elementary school holiday concert. And I would highly recommend sit with the kindergartens, because that's what I did at one of them, and it was the best time I've had in a really long time, let me tell you. If you're, like I said, if you're looking for some holiday excitement, it's there in And those 4 and 5-year-olds, they are full of it. And it was really wonderful. And it was really, really wonderful to see our board's commitment to music shine in these concerts. I want to specifically thank the music teachers. So we had Mrs. Sims and Mrs. McLennan. At Agila and Toss, they put the entire concerts together. They worked with each class for their presentations. They decorated. They did so much work to put these concerts together. Like I said, one of them I attended with the students, which was a blast, and then one of them I attended with the parents, which was also a blast to sit there and see their faces and how happy they were to see their students up there, and to see the little brothers and sisters so excited when they see their big sister up on the stage. It was really wonderful. So it's just so important, the extra work that our teachers put into putting these concerts on, that I just really want to thank them. And like I said, it really was evident to me that our board's commitment to music, and I had a chance to talk to both music teachers, and they were very appreciative of the board's support and the board's commitment, and the PD that was there. I spoke to one teacher who music was a lifelong passion for her, and then another who said, I really didn't know anything. I was kind of jumping into this, but I felt I could do it because there was enough support from our board, and she's certainly shining with that. So thank you to both of them. I really appreciate that. I also attended the K-Cup yesterday with Trustee Connors, which was amazing, and I would like to share. So the total raised for Christmas cheer, for Barrie District Christmas cheer, was $19,000, which is commendable. We are giving a lot of children Christmas through that, so that was amazing. And then there was another $2,550 that was raised for the Alliston and Bradford food banks. So there was wonderful work done by our students there. And I realize I'm chair of the board, and we all represent everyone, but I'm also just going to say that Nottawasaga Pines, boys and girls, won the first day. And Eastview cleared today is what I heard too. Boys and girls won there. So there's definitely some friendly rivalry there. And but it was really amazing to see everyone, like Trustee Connor said, the energy in the building was unbelievable, and it's a wonderful event to attend if you ever have the chance. And the work that happens through it is really incredible. So those were my my happy news things to share. Do we have anything else? Any other questions or proposals from trustees? Okay, not seeing any at this time, so we will move along in our agenda. So that takes us to, do we have any professional development seminar attendance? So I'll remind everyone, this would be your last chance to declare if you wanted to attend PES this year. Anyone like to attend? Trustee Grummett?
Yeah, and through the chair to the table, I will be attending PES in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Lloyd?
Thank you, I'll declare. Not sure if I'm able to attend, but I'll do it. Okay,
thank you very much.
I already did.
Yeah.
You didn't do notice of motion.
Oh, I missed a very important thing there. Sorry. Thank you. My apologies. Apparently, I need to put my glasses on a little more clearly. Okay, so we've done that part. We're going to backtrack. My apologies. So, notice of motion. Do we have any notice of motion this evening? Yes, Trustee Foley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be putting in a notice of motion that we should be sending a letter of regarding the incident I mentioned earlier, and I'll just have to craft it properly. Okay, with respect to writing a letter to Collingwood Council in support of creating a bubble to protect our students at CCI and all of our other schools in Collingwood from danger through protest.
Okay, I can give you a moment to write that, Trustee Foley. I believe we should have the proper motion written and submitted at board, so we can pause for a moment and I can give you a moment to write that.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll ask for consensus from the table that I don't need to recess. Are we all right to give Trustee Foley a moment? Okay, I'm seeing nodding. If anyone opposes, just let me know and I can always call for a motion for a recess. Thank you. Trustee Harrigan, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing your hand up now. Did I miss you earlier? Or did you have something to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I will be attending OPSPA.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Through you, Madam Chair, it's quick, and so we'll put it together that the SCDSB sent a letter to Collingwood Council supporting the idea of a safety bubble to be created near our Collingwood schools between school property and future protesters and protests.
Sorry, do I have a seconder for that motion? Trustee Wilson, thank you very much. Okay, so if you could pass that over when you're finished there, Trustee Foley, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so getting back on track with our agenda, that would take us to 5 reports and update from staff. So Director Stevens will speak to us and share our Celebrates video.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask Superintendent Van Nispen just to provide a point of clarity in regards to Trustee Lloyd's earlier question or comment in regards to funding.
Thank you, and through the chair to the table or to Trustee Lloyd. I apologize for whatever reason. I was thinking special education, and you were speaking about accessibility enhancements or upgrades at schools. So during the budget back in May, when the ministry announced funding, part of it was we get our annual renewal and school condition improvement funding. They had at the time indicated that they were going to be providing some additional funding to put towards accessibility upgrades or improvements in schools, but did not have details at that time. End of August, we received Memo B3, which provided clarity behind that funding for the province. All school boards received funding. Their focus is on buildings built prior to 2015. Our school board did receive $5 million to put towards those items. Those dollars are going towards projects that things that we were already going to be working on, and projects similar to projects we've brought to this table in the past with regards to universal washroom upgrades, the fire alarm, the visual fire alarms when we do an upgrade to the fire alarm system in a school, the visual. But this money is also allowing us to pull forward some of our projects and add additional door operators within the schools as opposed to just at the front door. So I do apologize. We are receiving $5 million.
Well, that's wonderful news. Thank you very much. Director Stevens.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Rafiq, to the table. I would like to share the message that I will be sending to the staff of the SCDSB tomorrow with the trustee table. I share this with you to further emphasize my gratitude and appreciation to the staff at the Simcoe County District School Board. SCDSB schools and workplaces are vibrant communities where students and staff come together to learn, grow, and thrive. Since the start of the school year, I have been invited to many events and have seen firsthand what makes our SCDSB school communities so special. The efforts of our staff throughout the school year are seemingly amplified during December when generosity, creativity, and commitment of staff become especially evident. Fundraising initiatives, celebrations, special sporting events, concerts, and holiday craft markets that bring school communities together would not be possible without you, our dedicated staff. I am concluding my first year as the director, and I am filled with such encouragement as I meet with educators and support staff, both in school and at the education center. The senior team, administrators, and managers continue to deliver consistent leadership with student achievement and well-being as our core focus. It makes me incredibly proud to be a part of an organization filled with so many caring and committed staff, and I would like to sincerely thank you for all that you do and wish you a well-deserved winter break. I invite trustees now to watch the Celebrates video, which focuses on our Ignite Your Future event and a partnership between a secondary school and elementary school. Thank you.
Join us as we celebrate stories from the system in relation to the SCDSB strategic priorities. This month, we welcome students and their families to Ignite Your Future, a Career Pathways Expo, and we jump into physical literacy at Cameron Street Public School.
Tonight at Ignite Your Future, we're bringing together students from across the district. The purpose of the event is to enlighten and ignite for students and their families alternate pathways such as the trades, university and colleges, and alternative workplace environments.
Sometimes students don't know what's after high school, so offering opportunities to this group of students that we have here tonight so that they can talk about what interests they have, what might be a career, what might be a profession that they might not have even thought about before.
The panelists were chosen because their stories really reflect the real life journey it takes for a lot of people to get to their chosen career pathway. The breakout sessions were selected because we wanted to have a variety of sectors reflected. So trades, entrepreneurship, those were selected because they might be a good option for students who want to explore those careers in the future.
The workshops were a good experience to learn about what we wanted to be. Even if we weren't sure now, you can learn about them so you know what you want to do when you're older.
Even though I want to go into university, I learned about how you could be in high school but also take a college course for free and learn about the program you want to be in.
For me, it's not just supporting my child, it's supporting all students to let them know you have the opportunity to choose your own pathway, and here are the steps to do so.
A lot of the vendors and post-secondary universities and colleges, they all are providing brochures, resources that they can take home. They can connect that way and learn a little bit more about the certain pathways.
It's one of our favorite days in kindergarten. We have the CCI grade 12 kinesiology class coming over and giving us some games and activities to help the kindergarten and grade 4-5 students learn some functional movement activities that apply to their ability and their interest levels as well.
The grade 12 kinesiology class has a part of their curriculum that involves human growth and development. Physical literacy skills, we call them the fundamental movement skills of all movement for the human body. A hands-on way that we've learned to really understand those concepts is to integrate with kids that are developing. My grade 12s develop a lesson plan that includes teaching physical literacy skills with those important fundamental movement skills, being able to see the difference in movement skills between an older age group and a younger age group. I think the best part about this is just seeing the smiles on everybody's faces. Kinesiology is such a diverse course that they could do so many different things in the future.
3, 2, 1, go! This unit has been really, really cool for me because outside of a student perspective, I'm also a coach in a lot of the sports I play. So it's been really, really useful to learn about the different ways that kids develop so that I can apply that into university and in my assignments as well.
Each age has this different way of thinking. How can you adjust your teaching style to these certain ages and how you can expand and really connect with them in that way and help them understand the physical literacy we're trying to get across?
My favorite activity was the animal jumps. My favorite activity was a bird when I was jumping. We had fun working with the grade 12.
It was really fun because you could do different moves and stuff, catching the wiffle balls and dodgeballs, and getting points. That was really fun.
Cameron Street Public School students shared letters of appreciation of their day with the grade 12 students from Collingwood Collegiate Institute, sharing sentiments like, "The grade 12s helped me learn how to balance, stop, and throw, and I had a lot of fun with the PCI kids. I wish it was every day."
For the latest videos and positive news, visit the Celebrates page on the SCDSB website.
Wonderful. It's always nice to see the smiles around the table for the great video. Thank you. Okay, so next up on our agenda, we do have some correspondence. So we have a letter from the Ministry of Education from Ministry of Education from December 3rd, 2025. And then, of course, we have the letter from the SCDSB Special Education Advisory Committee from November 28th, 2025. All right, so at this time, I would be looking for a motion to go into closed session. Do I have a mover for that? Trustee Wilson, seconded by Trustee Grummett. All those in favor? And that carries. Okay, so we'll just take a few minutes to move into closed session. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so we are back in public session. I thank everyone for your patience this evening. So we have no reports coming from closed session of the committee of the board of the committee of the whole this evening. So we do have some future meetings listed out on the agenda for us. We have a very busy January. We come back in full swing. I do want to wish everyone a happy holidays. Whatever you may be celebrating, if you're not celebrating anything, I hope you enjoy some time off and some family time and some relaxation and rejuvenation, and whatever you may choose to do with your time, I very much hope that everyone enjoys that. Again, I thank you for your patience for a very long evening, for our important discussions, and I wish everyone a wonderful holiday and a great evening and a safe drive home. I would be looking for a motion to adjourn. Trustee Grummett, seconded by Trustee Wilson. All those in favor, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.